welcome to Think or Be Eaten. We have with us today two gentlemen from the great state of Georgia presently who have a video to share with the world, and it's something. And I'm going to have them describe everything that took place. I've seen it. It's pretty much, it was started out to be like a day in the life, really innocently. And then because the one gentleman who videographed this, being at that time in Jersey City, on the heights of Jersey City, captured 9/11 in New York City. And you can imagine, it's powerful, and it's one of a kind. It certainly turned out to be a day in the life that nobody will forget who was alive on this planet at that time. So I want to introduce right now two gentlemen. An Pham, he is one of the two individuals. He's not the one who videographed it, but he partnered along with Jim Kosher, who's with us as well, and at that time resided in New Jersey and was in an apartment building that day and looked out the window, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, guys, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for the interview, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Keith.
An and Jim, yeah, no problem. It's something. There's no two ways about it, and it'll mean many different things to many different people.
Yeah,
it's certainly
absolutely
not going to go without any kind of reaction, without a doubt. But I'll tell you, tell us what we have, more or less, and how this all came to pass with you and Jim, and how you guys got together.
Well, I met Jim. We kind of just started off talking about some topic that we're talking about here. It's actually, to get specific, we were this music player, this MP3 player that we both are fanatics over for one reason or another. We met each other because of our enthusiasm over this particular item. Not to get too specific, but anyways, we're talking over the internet, and Jim, just subtly hints at having something about 9/11. I'm not really sure. He invites me to come to the gym, talk about it, get to know each other. And I go ahead and do that. And that's where we met, at a gym. And we're just working out. And later that evening, I am presented with what we now call Tuesday Morning in September, which is a 2-hour account of 9/11 that seems to be innocent at first glance.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when you really sit down and piece out what is really happening in front of you, you realize that there's subtleties of everything that happened that day that this account captures in a way that no other account or footage or whatever you want to call it, media, broadcast, any of that, has captured in this way. It's raw and it's real in a way that I don't believe many things are anymore. It's almost as if many things today have some sort of a layer over what is that piece. That piece is, added. Something is added to it. But.
Well, Lon, let me ask you. You were a younger person at that time. I guess you were a teenager. Do you have any recollections of 9/11 at the time it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was in 8th grade, 13 years old, and the first time I heard about it was about basically just it was the middle of the day, maybe around noontime when I first heard about it, and it was where we were having class, and they just said, everybody's got to, go to your homeroom and, just go there and we'll, you'll know what we're talking about when you get there. And I go to homeroom with everybody else, and there's a memo from the principal that pretty much sent out to all the teachers to read to the students. And I heard about, a plane has crashed into, and everybody's like, what plane's crashed into what? And, you hear about the commercial airliner. And I think there was a sense of, we know what happened, but we don't really understand it. You know, the kids, as being 13 years old, it's not that we didn't understand it, but we were kind of like, you know, we just kind of quiet about it because something happened and we knew it could happen, but is it really happening? You know, that kind of awkward in between denial and accepting what was going on.
Let me share something with you. I was exactly in the same situation as you were. 13 in 8th grade. I was in 7th grade, excuse me, when we were told that Kennedy had been assassinated. And that enough was to make people kind of nonplussed about it, but it was a single event. And even though we didn't understand exactly what all this meant, it was a single event. But I'm assuming when the information got broken down for the students, I mean, that I would assume is almost a chaotic situation because you've got actually three situations, and nobody's knowing if it's over or not. Was that part of the situation, that it's like kind of confusing to put it all together?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can't say how. I mean, I guess I really can't say what it was like for you, but I guess for me, from what I realized is that I think my generation, like the kids that growing up during my time, it's almost as if in many ways we are allowed, you know, it's a luxury that we are able to avoid things, you know, that we don't want to deal with. We are afforded that by just doing whatever you want. And I think that was part of what was happening. There was a sense of, you know what, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm going to just, you know, I think it's a part of this whole, you know, why aren't people voting and everything like that, because let me just let somebody else deal with it, you know, kind of like I don't even want to, you know, put my effort and energy into that. And I think more or less that's what was happening, because it is very much in, it's hard to say exactly how this became about, but there's a sense of you really can't do anything, you know?
Well, I mean, that's legitimate, and that does happen. I mean, you could call it a form of denial, perhaps, or it's just the fact that, in a way, if you ignore it, it might all go away, because it's massive, and you're young at that time, and you can't process all this. But I was wondering, too, is, now, we're going to go to Jim in just a bit, but Jim had been hanging on to this video. Did you encourage him, or was the result of it finally being released, did it have anything to do with the two of you talking it out? And I'm not saying persuading Jim, but at least talking it over so that he realized the import of having it finally come out.
Is that directed to Jim?
No, I'm asking you. I mean, if Jim doesn't meet you, do you think he would have ever released it?
If I wasn't involved, you mean?
Yeah, if you guys had not had, I mean, something happened, obviously, as a result of your relationship, and I'm wondering if that had something to do with the fact of perhaps making Jim think that maybe it's time that this goes up top.
Well, I don't know if there's a real way to answer that. I'll try to, but, you know, to say that the way that things unfolded, can't really say that it happened by randomness, that, because, I'm trying to think where to start, because, my goodness, I mean, I think if I met Jim, a year earlier, it wouldn't have happened, because it was just not the right time. We just couldn't, it wouldn't make sense, why at all, not at all, but not at that time, and I don't know, the timing wouldn't have been right in my mind's eye. If I met him any later than the time that I met him, I don't think we would be able to, try and have a September 11th, 2010 release. It just probably wouldn't happen that way. I mean, the only thing I could say is that, would it make a difference if I wasn't involved? I think so.
Okay.
I think it would, but
the timing was serendipitous, and you might even say providential, so obviously you couldn't argue that it was perhaps the right place at the right time.
Yeah, you can say that.
And Jim, what I want to know, you guys are in the gym and you're in between bench presses, and do you tell On, hey, listen, I got this video of the towers being attacked?
No.
How does that happen?
No, Keith. It's like when you meet anybody, like in that kind of environment. You know how that is when you're like saying hello to people that you really are only acquaintances with, and it's like we were just trying to, I don't know, it's awkward, and I really wanted to see. I don't know why. Keith, I told you we had a pre-interview, and I'd mentioned to you that about this Vietnamese. On is Vietnamese American,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why it was. I went to this Vietnamese dentist, and I had it in my spirit. I really discerned that I would be involved with the Vietnamese, American working on this thing, 9/11, a year before I met On. And I was so surprised when I met him. I knew he was Vietnamese. I didn't know it by his name. I just knew it. When I met him, and I took things real slow, and I didn't talk about this, what it was or anything. We got back here. I invited him over to, our house, my wife, Norceva and I's house, and then I just, I don't know exactly how it was. I didn't even give him any idea about what it was that he was going to exactly, what it was that he was going to see. I did not put anything into his mind. I didn't try to influence him one way or the other. I just went ahead and showed it to him, and I believe he did sit through the entire, account.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I didn't say a word to him one way or the other. What it was I was planning on, or it was all just. I just left things with him, and it was a week before On actually got back to me. And I knew it. I knew that when he got back to me, I could feel it throughout the week. I just felt it. That On wanted to go ahead and be a part of releasing this with me.
On, let me ask you this: if you can recall it, as much as you were aware of the event when it happened, and of course, as you went through the education system, however they treated that, and of course, you're not unavailed of other kinds of documentaries and such that have played out since then. However, that's all well and good, and you have a certain knowledge base that you consider accurate. But when you saw the pretty much, it covers a couple more than just 2 hours. There is a little gap, and at the end, when Jim goes down to Hoboken, I believe to greet his wife, whom he was worried about because obviously she was in New York, and who knows what was going to go down next. But besides that, there's a pretty tight, I guess an hour and a half or more, where it's just from the perspective of that apartment building in the Heights of Jersey City. But now, since the people now have an idea of what we all have been looking at, and they get an idea of what they've seen from photos, now that they have that, what I'm asking you is, watching that from that perspective, which certainly is one of a kind, do you remember your original feeling or feelings?
Feelings when I first heard about it, you mean? Or
no, when you watched that video.
Oh, when I first watched this account here, I had the odd thing about the towers is that the year before, on Memorial Day, me and my father took a trip out to New York City and went up, I don't know which tower, but we went to the top. And that's the only thing that really drew, in my mind, drew out something in my mind.